It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
I'm Des Clark, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. And with me are four of the best comedians around. On my right, we have Ray Bradshaw and Elaine Malcolmson, and facing them are Crystal Evans and Stuart Mitchell. In the news this week, a baby bat was discovered hiding away in a couple's holiday luggage. The bat secretly hitched a ride in the couple's car all the way from Lochaelhort to Glasgow. The couple took immediate action upon discovering the bat and demanded it chip in for petrol. An Italian pastry chef widely believed to be the person who came up with tiramisu has sadly died, aged 81. Roberto Lolli Linguinotto's funeral will take place on Thursday after dinner, but before coffee in the bill. And parcel delivery company Evri is set to create more than 550 jobs here in Scotland as it seeks to expand deliveries. To maximise chance of selection, interview candidates are advised to turn up late, slightly damaged and at the wrong address. Right, you've met the teams. Let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News round, where the teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Ray and Elaine, can you tell me what this is all about?
To the Olympics, and
the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves,
swam a strong final leg as Britain defended
the black hole she said she'd discovered in the country's finances.
in style.
She didn't know about it, she claimed, until...
Another tense doubles victory with Dan Evans.
Feels to me like nothing's changed.
Ray, we've got two stories. Any thoughts as to what the first one might be?
Yeah, it's got to be the big story just now, the Olympics.
Is the right answer. Well done, sir. Yes, after a heavily critiqued opening ceremony featuring a horse that can walk in water and Celine Dion singing on the Eiffel Tower, sporting events got underway in earnest at the 2024 Paris Olympics. Team GB has made a strong start on the medal tables, with Duncan Scott winning gold, the first Scottish medal of the Games in the 200 metres swimming relay. On Wednesday, Andy Murray extended his retirement with another epic win alongside Dan Evans to move into the quarterfinals of the Olympic men's doubles. His mum, Judy Murray, has said that the Paris Olympics was going to be a very sad time for her, because after this, she's going to have to pay for her own tickets to the tennis. Oh, Ray, well done and getting the right answer. Everyone talking about it. Have you been enjoying the Olympics?
Yeah, I love it. Andy Murray is the one that I've been watching like every bit on 10 Hooks. But I've fallen in love with Dan Evans.
Yeah.
Because Murray looks like a professional athlete, and Dan Evans looks like the kind of guy that would hustle you on a snooker table. Like he is. They're a phenomenal double act. It looks like Andy Murray is his parole officer. Like, it's so good.
What about you, Elaine? Everyone's talking about the Olympics. Have you been enjoying this year's Olympic Games?
I don't know, there's a lot of people offended by some of the imagery in the opening ceremony. And, I was a bit offended at their imagery. They were kind of rubbing our noses in it about how much cheaper their energy bills are by running that big gas torch 24 hours. The triathlon had a bit of an edge, didn't it?
It did, didn't it?
I don't know, there's people all over this country right now swimming in raw sewage just to help their own mental health a wee bit. You can't dodge a few jobbies to get an Olympic medal. Like, it's a lack of commitment.
We're talking about the Olympics, Stuart. Have you been enjoying the Olympics?
I have. You mentioned the Celine Dion. I thought that was incredible, looking up at the Eiffel Tower and thinking, geez, it cost €32 to get up there. I mean, if that had booked Rod Stewart, the camera would have just cut and he's at the box office saying, I'm not paying that.
Any Olympians specifically that have stood out for you this year?
Not really. What has stood out, and it's quite good, is it's the first thing on telly for a long time that Martin Compston hasn't been in.
Crystal, I know you've been watching a bit of it and enjoying it. Any Olympians stood out for you?
I like the U.S. gymnastics team. I like gymnastics because it looks impossible. You know, it looks like magic. Like, And, the U.S. usually does well in gymnastics, so I can, on some level, take pride in something that I had nothing to do with, as we all do when we watch national sports. I can be like, wow, we worked really hard for this, as I'm, cracking open a Bud Light. I do normally drink wine, but when I watch the U.S. compete, I do drink Bud Light because I'm a patriot, so...
Always representing. What should be an Olympic sport and why?
I like how they keep changing it though, and they put in different sports and they take some out. Some got dropped, baseball and karate got dropped. Well, karate was dropped, and then they were so angry they chopped all the baseball bats in two.
Stuart, what about you? What do you think should be an Olympic sport and why?
Yeah, sleeping. I'd do that. We all go to bed. In the morning, things would get a bit interesting because Germany would realise they've forgotten to take the bins out. Then China's left the phone charger in the living room. Then you've got Spain. They can't sleep because they're regretting the previous day they went back to their bed for an hour.
Well done for getting the right answer. We're, of course, talking about the Olympics, which do continue. As we mentioned, breakdancing is making its debut as an Olympic sport, making its first dance competition at a global event since the 2014 Commonwealth Games, when Team Scotland won gold in the slosh. Yeah, well done, Ray and Elaine. You get 2 points for that. It was the latest from the Paris Olympics. Right, to you, Crystal and Stuart, it's your turn. What was the other story we were after?
Is this Rachel Reeves' spending audit?
That's the right answer. Well done, yes. In a statement to Parliament this week, Chancellor Rachel Reeves cut winter fuel payments for 10 million of the better-off pensioners as she sought to plug a £22 billion black hole in the public finances she said was covered up by the Conservative government. The Scottish Government has said it cannot guarantee it will be able to provide universal winter fuel payments in relation to the announcement. Shadow Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has denounced the audit as a shameless attempt to lay the ground for tax rises later in the year. Rachel Reeves has also been told that she cannot remove the urinal from her office toilet as it's listed and can't be altered, making it now the most useless thing in the Chancellor's office since quasi-quartine. Stuart, what do you think? Are you surprised by the Chancellor's announcements?
Our national debt is £2.7 trillion. So I thought I would help us all out, and I actually phoned the Scottish debt experts. And see, because we've never been bankrupt before, and we've got unaffordable debt over £8,000, we're entitled to a voluntary debt arrangement scheme. And we can write off our debts and start living again.
A message of hope this week by the Chancellor-elect Stuart Mitchell.
Well, Rachel Reeves, she's accused the Conservatives of hiding at £21.9 billion overspend. She's accused the previous government, the Conservative government, of lying. Wow. I mean, that's a real character assassination. That is wild accusations, isn't it? I hope that doesn't stick because that will really tarnish their reputation.
Ray, what do you think? Are you surprised by the Chancellor's announcements?
No, because you can see it all coming. What makes me laugh is that, they found, $6 billion extra than they thought. And it's I don't know if you ever had this when you go on a night out and you wake up the next morning and you look at your bank, you're like, oh, I was hacked. Oh, no. And then you see a Facebook picture of you drinking a Sambuca at 9 p.m. You're like, oh, no, I wasn't hacked. And why have I sent 7 million to Michelle Moan? What is happening? Yeah, it's a shambles. Also, debt's made up. Write it all off, right? Everyone's off. Start again. You wouldn't play Monopoly for this long.
You make a very good point, actually. Yeah.
Start again.
But obviously, we need to do something about it. Is this the answer, or is there something else? Crystal, what do you think? What would be a better way to balance the books?
This reminds me of a story my dad told me about when he was a teenager and he was working at Taco Bell. So he worked at Taco Bell because he needed money, obviously, and he had his own scam going at Taco Bell, right? And so this was the 70s, and so it was just normal cash registers, no computers. And so he would take someone's order, right? And say it was 2 bean burritos. He would call it out on the microphone, 2 bean burritos, but he would only ring up one on the till, and then he would take the money for both and put the money in the till for one and pocket the rest. And he never got caught. And he also told me to never tell anybody about that. and I'm just saying, at least Dad was smart enough to steal from a large corporation rather than the elderly, okay?
All All of that makes perfect sense, Crystal. Genius. Stuart, what do you think? What would be a better way to balance the books?
The windfall tax on profits of energy and gas companies will rise 3% from November. So what we want to do is send them a letter in January to inform them that that 3% was just an estimate.
See how they like it. Elaine, obviously, we're all feeling the pinch, still under the cost of living crisis. What would be your top tip for saving money, Elaine?
Use public transport. Specifically in Glasgow, buses, trains, subway, because honestly, you'd be amazed like how much you save having to walk when they just don't show up.
Get your steps in. Ray, final thoughts on this to you. What would be your top tip for saving money?
Get a job at Taco Bell. Like...
Rachel Reeves has accused the previous government of hiding a £22 billion government overspend. The Tories refuted the claims and insisted they are the party of fiscal prudence, with former PM Liz Truss saying when she resigned, the debt was only £11 billion. He had it under control. Well done, Crystal and Stuart. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of the latest from the Olympics and the first raft of financial decisions from the new Chancellor, Rachel Reeves. And at the end of that round, well done. The teams are all square. Now, much of our news is about public opinion, so to find out what stories people are talking about, we spoke to two friends of the show, broadcaster and columnist Brian Taylor and parapsychologist and TV presenter Evelyn Hollow. So, Crystal and Stuart, what do you think Brian is on about here?
It makes you proud, eh? Taking the old Scots habit of being, well, just plain contrary and turning it into a prize-winning skill. You have to wonder when they're going to use this. We Scots, we've always liked a good argument, but these kids, well, they're just different class. They convince you that you're wrong.
This is in relation to Scotland winning the World Schools Debating Championship.
Is the right answer. Well done. A great victory for us. Yeah, well, may we applaud that. This is the brilliant news that as the Scottish team have been crowned winners of the World Schools Debating Championship for a fifth time after victory at the competition in Serbia. Team Scotland squad, drawn from 4 schools, overcame New Zealand, Pakistan, England and Qatar to meet Bulgaria in the final. Yes, Scotland Schools Debating team have won the World Championships, which is proof that as a debating tactic it is hard to beat. No, you didn't. Mona Scotland, there we go, champions again in this one. Why is it, Stuart, that you think Scotland as a nation is so good at debating?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to respond, Des. I thought it was interesting, the Conservative leader in Scotland, Douglas Ross, he posted what an outstanding result, congratulations to the world champions, and he's planning to go to Portobello High School to congratulate them personally. But he's just waiting until he's refereeing the Hearts game.
Just tie in with that. Crystal, why do you think that we are so good at debating?
You guys practice from a young age, you know. I think, like my kids, I've had them over here, so they are Scottish. I was in Asda with them the other day, and they were both like running around crazy. And I was like, "Listen, I know you're not aware of it, but you're annoying people. Okay, you need to just like take it down a notch." And my 9-year-old was like, "Yeah, well, if they're so annoyed, then why don't they say something?" And I was like, "Well, because this is the UK. They'd rather die than say something."
Scotland are level with England as the second most successful team behind Australia. That's all English-speaking countries. Everyone else is doing it in their second language. It's a lot of heavy lifting by Duolingo.
Don't try and take away something we're good at, Elaine.
Sorry.
Well, look, I'll ask one final question, because we're talking about Scotland being a great nation of debaters. What is the one argument that you reckon you'd always win?
Any argument with my dad. Because he's dead. Yeah, there's my stepmother.
Ray, what about you? We're talking about debates and arguments. What's the one argument you'd always win?
It's not me, it's my dad. So my mum and dad are both deaf, so we grew up learning sign language, and my dad does a thing if he feels he's losing an argument. He starts to look around So, like, my mum's signing to him, my dad's looking around, and the minute you know he's won, he just shuts his eyes, because you can't compete.
That is checkmate right there, isn't it?
You know you've lost the argument when you're flicking the big light on and off to try and get him to open his eyes.
Well done. Scotland's triumph in the World Schools Debating Championship is the correct answer. Well done, Crystal and Stuart. Right, it's your turn now. Ray and Elaine, what do you think Evelyn is talking about here?
I think we're always looking to reject modernity and embrace tradition. I think we see that reflected in the fact that people still collect vintage cars and things like that. And even though the future is always looking to make things more instantaneous for us, making it easier for us, it's unsatisfying.
Sales of like DVDs and Blu-rays have been going up.
That's a great spot. Well done. That's the right answer. Yes, the boss of HMV has said that more shoppers are buying physical movies and TV shows again, despite the recent streaming boom. Yes, DVD purchases are on the rise, according to a statement from HMV. We're also hearing that Woolworths shares have been boosted by sales of Pogs. This is coming direct from CFAX as we get it. What about you, Ray? The comeback of DVDs. Do you still own any DVDs?
No, because I don't live in a charity shop. Like, no.
Do you still have DVDs, Stuart?
Well, we do, but my wife's into arts and recycling, so they're all stuck to the ensuite roof. I'm having to rip down half the ceiling so she can watch Dirty Dancing.
I actually have more VHS than DVD. You know, they're videotapes. I have the original VHS of The Little Mermaid with the cover that has that one castle tower that looks like something I can't say on the radio. I'm glad for the two people that understand that. I also have the original VHS of The Lion King where Simba like lays down on a big cloud of dust and it forms a dirty word as well. They've changed all this now. They don't want people to know that they used to put subliminal messages into kids' heads via animation, and they've now gone back and changed it because I have the physical evidence, and it's not just because my generation is like perverted and we just saw exactly what we wanted to see. It was really there.
I used to get VHSs that were a bit dirty off the guy next door, and he was called Blu-ray.
So we're talking about these old forms of media that are coming back, DVDs, Blu-rays. Why are we drawn to old forms of media? Elaine, why do you think this is?
It's nostalgia, isn't it? Because everything's a bit rubbish now, and it's kind of comforting to know it was also a bit rubbish in the past.
What's next? Are we going to start, I don't know, getting the LPs back out? Do you know how much you get for LPs now?
No idea.
You get up to £800 for an LP. What? I know. My gran's got loads of them up the loft.
Where does she live?
Well, at the moment, up the loft.
So obviously we're looking retro, and the era maybe people seem to be going back to at the moment is the early noughties. Stuart, what would you bring back from the early noughties?
Optimism.
Yes, the boss of HMV has said that sales of DVDs and Blu-rays are going up, which is a relief for pubgoers, as it's just all the same when a dodgy guy comes up to you going, "Hey, do you want a swatch of my Disney Plus password?" Yes, DVD sales on the rise is, of course, the right answer. 2 points go to Ray and Elaine. You're listening to Breaking the News from BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. So, Ray and Elaine, you're up first this time. Who is this?
The work that we have done as a party in tackling prejudice, discrimination and racism is something that I have worked on personally.
Kemi Badenoch?
That's the right answer, yeah. Well done, Ray, that's correct. It is the Shadow Housing Secretary, Kemi Badenoch, who's become the 6th person to put themselves forward for the Conservative leadership race. She joins James Cleverly, Tom Tugendhat, Robert Jenrick and Mel Stride, who declared last week, and Priti Patel, who launched her bid at the weekend in the race. Announcing her candidacy and her honesty vow, she wrote in the Times, "If I have the privilege to serve, we will speak the truth again." Kemi Badenoch's first job was working in McDonald's, which makes her the Tory leadership candidate who most scares Nigel Farage, basically because she still has access to free milkshakes. What do we think then of Kemi's chances, Ray?
Oh, it's a bleak selection of people, isn't it? So in 2022, she finished behind Penny Mordaunt, Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. So she was 4th and 5th if you include the lettuce. Like, it is...
There is a leadership race on for the Tories, and Kemi Badenoch has declared. What do you think of Kemi Badenoch's chances, Elaine?
Well, as Ray said, she previously came 4th behind Liz Truss. If I came behind Liz Truss in anything, I'd just go and live in a cave. If I'd lost to Liz Truss, I'd never enter anything again. I wouldn't even enter a raffle.
Have you seen this system they've brought in? This yellow card system?
Yes.
As well. So the 1922 committee have introduced a yellow card system in an effort to prevent the candidates attacking each other. I know, but just like football, you've got to watch for bias, because Priti Patel, she could be in the right wing. Of course she is, and she takes a dive in the dispatch box with no contact whatsoever, and all of a sudden, penalty to Rangers.
Got to watch for that, haven't you? Crystal, what about you? What are your thoughts on this? We've mentioned Kemi Badenoch. Have you had a wee look at any of the others in the running?
I tried. You know, I typed into Google good Tory candidates, and it just said no results.
Suella Braverman said that she wouldn't say what people wanted to hear, and as a result has decided not to run for leader, which perversely is exactly what people wanted to hear. Yes, well done. 2 points to Ray and Elaine. That was Kemi Badenoch. Right, Crystal and Stuart, it's your turn now. Who is this and why are they in the news?
Now, we've kept as much secret as possible so everyone can watch it together. So please, God, no spoilers. Just, it ruins the fun for everyone. And we promise you, we want you to see this on the big screen, the biggest screen possible.
It's Ryan Reynolds.
It's the right answer. Well done. Yes, it is, of course, Ryan Reynolds. He's in the news as Marvel Studios' latest hit, Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Reynolds, delivered a monster $211 million jolt to the box office. The Disney-owned film studio also made headlines this week announcing that Robert Downey Jr. will return to the Marvel Universe as Dr. Doom, or as we call him in Scotland, Jason Leach. We miss him, don't we? There we go. Well done in getting Ryan Reynolds. That was the right answer, Crystal. So what about him then? Has Ryan Reynolds saved the superhero movie?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's nothing he can't say. Didn't he buy a football team in England as well? And like, I think we should let him have a go at solving, you know, global warming and other things. Actually, my husband and I were having trouble with our boiler the other day, and we called someone to fix it. Who turns up? Ryan Reynolds.
Very much the American Martin Compston.
What about this then? Ryan Reynolds. Stuart, do you think Ryan Reynolds has saved the superhero movie?
Well, I'm not much of a Marvel fan, if I'm honest, but my nephew is, and he's been trying to get me to go, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't want to go. He's like, come on, Uncle Stu. He's like, come on, Uncle Stu, what's the last thing you seen at the cinema? And I'm like, the prices.
Well, obviously within this, as well as Ryan Reynolds, other news in the superhero movie world is that Robert Downey Jr. is making a return to the Marvel Universe. Are we surprised to see Robert Downey Jr. making that comeback, Crystal?
Do you know who I would be really surprised if they made a comeback? Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
You know? Now that would be something worth talking about. First of all, he's dead, so he'd have to return like as a zombie, you know, and he'd have to update the lyrics to all of his most famous songs, and he'd go on a comeback tour. So he'd open with, I've got you under my skin, brackets, maggots. You make me feel so young, special dedication to Joe Biden. And then he'd close with, the way you look tonight. No, really, please tell me the way you look tonight, because my eyeballs were the first body part to rot out of my skull.
What a comeback. Frank Sinatra. Old No Eyes is back. Can't wait for the tour gigs. Robert Downey Jr. has made his return to the Marvel films. Are we surprised to see Robert Downey Jr. making a return, Stuart?
Well, I think money talks, doesn't it? He's obviously come back for that. He's going to be the next big supervillain, Dr. Doom. But it's no due out to 2026. How ironic. Got to wait 18 months to see the doctor.
Elaine, what do you think about this then? Robert Downey Jr. is back in the superhero films. Are you surprised to see him making that return?
Robert Downey Jr. used to be Iron Man.
Yeah.
So he's been recycled. Smelted into Doctor Doom. I don't know.
Must have put him in the right bin. Yeah, fair enough. We got the right answer talking about superheroes, superpowers. The Tom Holland Spider-Man movies were named Homecoming, Far From Home and No Way Home, which are also the 3 most common status updates on ScotRail. Well done there. Ryan Reynolds is, of course, the right answer. 2 points goes to Crystal and Stuart. It's time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
Oh, my goodness, I can't keep up with this.
There you go. That's tennis star Annabelle Croft there trying to work out how many of Labour's manifesto promises are actually left. OK, fingers and buzzers. Here we go. What has sold for £136,000? Stuart.
Dundee.
It's a lovely answer, but let's keep it going. What has sold for £136,000? Crystal.
Taylor Swift tickets.
Yeah, been trying to buy them. What has sold for £136,000? Ray.
Is that a camper van in the Fife area with no number plates? By any chance?
It might well be. We couldn't possibly comment. Any more for any more? I'll give you one more shot. What has sold for £136,000? Elaine.
3,253,977 Mexican pesos.
We didn't quite get there with the answer. What we're looking for, what has sold for £136,000? The famous gold bikini worn by the late Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia in Star Wars.
Oh, my goodness, I can't keep up with this.
Oh, there's the klaxon. Annabelle has crofted. It means it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Elaine Malcolmson and Ray Bradshaw. Commiserations and silver medals to Crystal Evans and Stuart Mitchell. And we'll leave you with the breaking news. Just in, a Highland Games trophy, which had been missing for decades, has been won for the first time in 90 years. Unfortunately, it was for the Throw the Trophy, the furthest event, so it's now been lost again. Rare handwritten letters by Princess Diana are to be sold at auction, which has led many people to believe that Paul Burrell must have a holiday to pay for. And waste and refuge collectors in Edinburgh plan to strike during the Edinburgh Festival, meaning if a comedian dies on stage, they might not get collected till September. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!